Counselor Smith. Mayor Johnson II.
Here. Thank you very much. And I think the city attorney is joining us on Zoom. So if you can hear me, just acknowledge that you're there, please.
I am here, Mayor.
The voice from above. Thank you very much, city attorney. Business from the public. Business from the public. No one signed up? Oh, well, 2 people signed up to talk. Fantastic. So 2 people signed up. So I'm going to go ahead and read the script, and we'll have the gentleman speak to us this evening. Business from the public is for persons wishing to address the council. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes unless extended by the mayor. Councilors should hold their comments until business from the council. All written materials has been forwarded to the councilors and entered into the public record. Instructions for getting copies of the public record is on the city's website under business from the public. So the first up on the agenda today is Mr. John Robinson. Can you please come up and tell us where you are, or who you are, why you're here to talk to us, and then we'll start the clock.
All right, I'm John Robinson. I reside at 2500 Del Rio Court Southeast in Albany. Sorry, I can't read.
It's okay.
Got to get my glasses out. This is a little different rather than sitting down, so I don't want to get comfortable up here. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome back to our representative form of government. We, the people, the citizens of Albany, have been anxiously awaiting this day when we get to meet in person again. And a great many of us are not happy with the actions of our government. Actions like physically removing basketball hoops from city parks under the guise of protecting us from COVID-19. These actions kept fathers and sons who live in the same household from getting some exercise and bonding time. Actions that other local cities did not find necessary to take. Actions like using COVID-19 to not meet in person and then ram through a public safety fee without an in-person public hearing. Yes, we're all tired of Zoom meetings. Shame on you for not waiting so the citizens of Albany could weigh in on this important issue in person. Thank you to Councilor Novak for being the lone voice of reason and listening to the people. So I think some reminders are in order. You all work for us. We're the little people. We're the taxpayers. We're the business owners. We're the people who make the city what it is. We're the people who elected a new mayor after the old mayor kept vetoing common sense ADU regulations. And I might add, Albany is still not a slum because of allowing ADUs to be built. We're the people that elected a new school board, a school board that's first order of business was to fire the superintendent. Yes, we are those people. City manager serves at the pleasure of the city council. City council serves at the pleasure of the citizens of Albany. So my advice to all of you is to please listen. Listen to the people you're supposed to represent. Listen to the people who actually hold the power. Thank you for listening, and welcome back.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much. Next speaker will be Mr. Mike Quinn.
Mike Quinn, Quinn. I reside at 4455 Sunset Ridge Drive, Northwest. I'm the resident, non-resident of Albany, I guess. So, and just to let some of the newer ones in that know, I got skin in the game in Albany, even though I'm 100 yards outside the UGB.
Can't hear you, Mike. Need to get closer.
Can you hear me now?
That's better. That's much better.
Okay.
It's better.
I'm just kind of giving a pretext of what's going to happen here. We've voted in a lot of stuff here. Last year, in April last year, our city manager, dire straits, we're losing like $1.1 million. Going to have a shortfall. We do a special levy. We come in, not even to be heard, that we wanted to lower the $1.15 to 85 cents. Wait till you guys see what you're going to get in November. And this is supposed to be a $3.5 million fix. You're going to be stunned when you see what you get out of this special levy in that per year. Nobody wanted to lower this thing 15 cents. That's number one. Number two is the water facility in that. And, Marilyn, you can look over there and look at the city manager for his reactions, but I've talked to him about this to no vein. The water facility in that was supposed to be a 10-year. We were part of the program here, the people. We had a secretary that was here, and that on the water task force, 10-year thing with rates being, expanded and everything else. After 10 years, actually, you know how long it's been past that. We're like almost 4.5, 5 years past that. The thing's paid for, okay? My question is, and especially the lady that's in charge of your finance department won't give us the figures. Can't find them online or nothing. The transparency's gone down here. I want to find out why, instead of in September, like I heard rumor, and I could be wrong on this, but about raising water rates. Why are we raising water rates if we've paid off the water facility? Is there something that's wrong with it? Is it like the sewer department where we went and sued Siemens because we're suing everybody during those days, Pepsi, Siemens, whoever, whatever happened to all that money and stuff? And I'm just curious about the last thing here is, you guys got some transportation money and you bought some new buses. What happened to the old buses? If you sold them, what happened to that money? Can't find it in the budget. It's like the police department. We sold it to Lynn County. What happened to that money right there? Was it to pay down like our bond and that on the police station and fire station? What did we do with all this extra money and stuff like that? You guys are now, of course, you postponed it tonight. You have several $1 million, up to about $7 million, I heard, that everybody's got a wish list out and everything else. Can we not have people involved, just like Mr. Robinson said, that we can have people involved? We've been dodging a lot of issues here and stuff like that because for a year and a half, all I'm doing is seeing a lot of city staff out at Costco and that, and Fred Meyer's at 10 o'clock in the morning and that, and doing their thing from home. And I put up with it. Didn't say nothing. I was asked one time, well, you need to tell me who the people are. You're not going to do nothing to them because they're unionized and stuff. So the thing about it is, Sarah Palin stood just like this and that probably, up to about 14 years ago. Took her 2 years and she ended up being governor of the state. Now, I'm not running for no governor, but I'm just saying we need to have accountability here. The transparency's gone, and when you ask staff, they say, we'll get back to you, and they don't get back to you. What's with that? Where's the transparency and stuff? I mean, I think we're kind of getting a little bit tired. And you guys are talking about housing, which is now my gift of God, that we have a housing situation. It was created. We're 8 years behind in housing. I went over it with the mayor and stuff, but you have retired staff getting a PERS that's on staff still under contract, and they're doing all this cutesy manipulation and everything else. And it's time to get, your group. I'm telling you, Mr. Mayor, you need to get your group and let's get it going now. You want to know how you can get affordable housing? There's quite a few people that can tell you in that how you can do it. Not all these parameters and everything else. And the duplex thing of putting that off now to October when it's the law of the state, Senate Bill 2001. Yet, no, we have to do the House Bill 458 and add that in on it. You don't have to.
So we'll be addressing that this evening as well. So
All right, well, that's it. I mean, people are going to want transparency in your numbers. When they collect taxes this November, you guys are off. I mean, you really are and stuff. So, and this thing about 50 other cities, the reason why there's not 50, it's about 38 cities. And what it is, the League of Nations, your country club for senior staff, mayors and council people, they go up and they find out how people do methodologies throughout the state. This has been the new thing. Don't hit them with bond measures and stuff. You need to be able to put these little fees in that, like ex-Mayor Canopia said, it's a cost of a latte. Well, how many more lattes are we going to probably spend here and stuff when you have a retirement community here that's based on, I mean, we got a lot of retires here and stuff. I think Mr. Olson would actually agree with me on that we can't keep putting these
thank you,
little
Mr.
fees on.
Quinn. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And the other thing is, why do we have that right there? I mean, seriously, you're starting the meeting earlier, right? and you have now a timer. Is that in Georgia is an intimidation factor. They wiped it out in 6 different cities in Georgia, especially the Atlanta and that council. That's an intimidation factor to get people to speak up faster. When people speak faster, you guys don't
So,
hear us.
so I will comment during business from the council.
Okay.
Thank you. We have, City Attorney, you're still there. First reading of an ordinance, AMC 2.66.070, Personal Services Contracts Amendment. Director Yeager, pages 3 and 5 of your packet. Does the staff have a report?
Thank you. Good evening. Council asked us to bring back some numbers for you tonight, so I am prepared to do that. Currently, our city prosecutor receives $103,000 each year for his services, for prosecutor services. The prosecutor handles about 25% more cases than a public defender does because he covers not only the represented, but the unrepresented and the retained cases. We looked at what we've paid out in the last few years, and it's been an average of about $90,000 to $100,000 in fees, and that's at $50 an hour. For the public defender, yes. We checked with some other cities. The city of Corvallis pays $60 an hour. Springfield pays $150 per case, which for us, an average case is about 3 hours worth of work, so that would be roughly equivalent to $50 an hour. The Lebanon Public Defender is contracted. They pay $18.50 a month for his services. And I looked online just to kind of see what some other wages were, and the Metropolitan Public Defender Services, which is based up in the Portland area, had an attorney position that was open, and that salary range was between $24K and $95,000. What we are proposing, if we move forward with this, and this is in no way moving forward with a contract at this point, this is only changing code so that we can procure these services in a manner that would make us more consistent with the city attorney, the judge, and other legal representation that we have. We were thinking we would offer a range of $70,000 to $85,000. We would have a panel. If we go through a panel and make a selection for a public defender, and it doesn't work out, we can't come to a mutually satisfactory amount, we can always go back to the process that we currently have. So again, this is in no way an obligation to enter into a contract for this amount. We really just want to be able to procure these services in a way that's more consistent, more economical, and will align us with our other court and legal services.
Council, do you have any questions? Councilor Olson?
Yeah, same question I asked last time. How much did we pay for the public defenders last year?
So in fiscal year 2020, we paid just about $100,000.
How much?
$100,000,
100,000 even?
yes.
Interesting. It came out to that even a number.
Pardon me?
Didn't you hire people individually for each case? And it just happened to end up being 100,000 even?
No, that's an approximation. I work with budgets, so we always round to the nearest hundred. It
Right,
was-
to the nearest 100,000.
It was $100,349.
How much?
$100,349.
349. Okay.
Just over 100,000.
And how much are we planning to spend on hiring a full-time attorney?
If we were to enter into a contract with somebody, we would be proposing a range of $70,000 to $85,000
Per year?
per year.
And that doesn't include the public defenders, that's just the attorney itself. Does that include the public defenders?
That would be for the public defenders.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, could I make a clarification?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
We're not talking about authorizing a contract. We're talking about authorizing a change to the AMC, which would allow coordinating a contract with a public defender in a different way than we have in the past.
Okay.
The time to talk about the money would be in the future when we actually
Find somebody.
entertain some offers, provide them a range, and find out if that's something that they would offer that service for. This is really just a change to the AMC.
The code, okay. Thank you, Peter. Council, how you feeling about that?
Yeah.
Fine with it? How are you feeling?
I'm still confused. Are we doing this in order to do it more economically?
That's my question.
That's
Yes.
correct. And to do it more efficiently and more economically. Right now, we have a number of different attorneys who take on indigent defense cases on an ad hoc basis.
I'm aware of that.
This would allow us to hire one attorney as a public defender, the same way we hire one attorney as a prosecutor, and that attorney would handle our indigent defense cases,
Right.
with the possible exception of a conflict. If they had a conflict of interest, they would have to provide another attorney. Or if they had, they had 2 or 3 cases at one time, they'd have to provide another attorney. The idea is that there's a couple of things that would be accomplished. We would have an attorney in town, which would make it a lot easier for our indigent defendants to visit with their attorneys. And it would make it it would streamline the process for hiring. We would hire one public defender rather than multiple public defenders.
And so that person would serve as like the shepherd of the public defenders?
Well, they would serve as the primary public defender.
Okay.
And really, as I envision it, the only time they wouldn't serve as a public defender is if they had a conflict.
That's correct.
So I want to make a statement just for the record then. This is to make things more efficient and to save money.
That's correct.
Okay. Increase efficiency, save money. All right. That's the sort of thing that I am hoping to see happen with every aspect of our budget in the future. I'm glad to see it potentially happening here.
And if I might add, to improve the quality of service for the indigent
Indigent, right.
defendants as well.
I like that as well. So would the council like to make, let me see, would the council like the city attorney to read the ordinance for the first time?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
Okay. City attorney?
Okay. An ordinance amending ordinance number 5612 to clarify the procedures used for personal services, contracts related to municipal court services.
Thank you. Would the council like to make a motion to read the second time?
I would move to read
Title
the
only.
ordinance a second time by title only.
Okay. Do you have a second?
Yes. Seconded.
City attorney?
We need to vote
With-
on that.
with-
Oh, let's vote on that.
Need to
Yes.
vote on that.
So all those in favor say aye, or raise your yes
Aye.
sign.
Aye.
When do I ask a question?
Oh, you want to ask the question first?
Yeah, I did. Okay,
I didn't see your hand
so
up.
I'm sorry, well, I
Go
guess I should have raised it. I'm just wondering how many, okay, we're spending $100,000. Like, how many do we have? Because I know Judge Reed runs a lot of people through his court. And I just wondered if we were like paying him $50 an hour or something like that. So can 1 or 2 people handle this? It seems like, I'm afraid there's going to be a lot of overlapping. I don't know if they really, I'm sorry, they gave me a new mic. I forgot to use it. I'm afraid of the overlapping. It's great that they're here, that they're hopefully be here in Albany. But I'm just wondering about how many cases they run through and to make sure that we do it okay. I'm sure Sean would probably have that answer.
Can you hear her,
I
Sean?
see
Yeah.
him. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this Zoom raise my hand, so I'm just actually raising my
I'm looking
hand.
right at you.
Um,
I'm looking right at you.
All right, go. So,
Well, there he is.
yes, normally right now, we've had in the past year, basically 2, technically 3 attorneys who have been handling these cases, but really only 2. One has had very, very few cases. So it's really been 2. But what the council would be required to do is similar to what Judge Reed does, which is they would have to provide for a backup if there was a conflict or if there was an absence due to sickness or vacation or something like that. They would have to have someone cover for them, and they would be required to be, and we would do that in the contract, although I won't be on the selection committee. I want to clarify that. but in the contract, they would be required to have someone as an alternate to step in, and that person would also be required to have an office in the city of Albany so that those people could go to that office if they needed to. So,
So Counselor
but yeah,
Johnson.
they would be required also they would have their own assistant. So that money would go for, the person's going to have an office, a physical presence in the city. They would have to have an assistant, to take phone calls and things when they are out and things like that. So, but yeah, it's not unusual for one person to handle municipal court defense work.
Okay, great.
We have one person who's currently handling about 66, two-thirds of the current cases.
Okay.
I just checked with September on that today.
Great, that helps. Thank you.
Is that better, Counselor Olson? Thank you,
Yeah.
Counselor Johnson.
So, are we going to retain a firm to be the public defender?
Yes,
And
that's
are
what we
gonna
hope to do.
Give them so much money per year, or are we still gonna pay them by the hour?
We would pay them a retainer. We would pay them a set amount each year.
So hopefully we can get them for a full year for less than $130,000 a year.
That,
Correct.
And they give however amount of time it takes to do the job.
Correct.
Seems like we're going to be lucky to hire somebody for less than $130,000 a year. But
Well, so we currently pay our prosecutor $103,000 a year to handle all of our cases.
how much?
$103,000,
103?
103, to handle all of our cases, and those also include the ones that are unrepresented as well as retained cases. The public defender wouldn't handle that many. They would handle about 25% less than that.
And so we
Okay.
would be paying them about 25% less. You quoted you're looking at 70 to 85,000.
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure I heard that right.
Yep.
Thank you.
okay, so we had a motion and a second for the second reading. So let's go ahead and vote on that. Any other questions, council, before we move forward? Everybody's good?
So we're voting on.
The second, reading
reading
the second, yes.
Yeah.
So all those in favor of the second reading, say aye.
Aye.
Counselor Novak?
Aye, yes.
So that's 5-0.
No, I'm
Oh, you're
opposed.
opposed, so 4-1.
Yeah.
Motion passes.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. We have
No.
to come back.
One
You have to bring it back. Yeah.
One,
Yep, I got it, I got it.
no vote. We have to bring it back
I-
next time.
I got that.
And I think we can think about it for a couple of weeks without
Okay.
doing any damage.
So that, go ahead, Counselor
I'll
Johnson.
say, okay, was that the first reading or second
That
reading?
was,
'Cause
that
I-
would have been
We
the
read
second
it the
reading.
first
We read the
time.
first
I voted
time.
no on reading it the second time.
Right.
So
We gotta
we'll
bring
read
it
it
back.
at our next council.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get
Yeah,
straight,
we gotta
because
bring
I
it back.
thought we had done actually
So-
both and we're voting
So
on the
Director
second.
Yeager, can you bring it
Okay.
back to us next meeting? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So next on the agenda item would be adoption of the consent calendar.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
If I could ask you you've got a number of liquor license approvals, and if I could pull one of those for Sedici's, just so that we can round up some more information that we need before we can recommend approval.
Is that one, the annual liquor license renewals, page 19 through 21?
Yeah,
Correct,
a
that's
couple
correct.
pages of it.
Yes, there's 3 pages of them, looks like.
I'm
Okay.
glad to see we're a nice, wet community.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
So we're going to pull that item off? Oh,
If the council will concur, I would like to pull that.
Council?
Thank you.
Yes.
Are they going out of business, or?
That's a separate question. We just have some other permitting issues to raise with them.
Oh, shoot.
Council in favor of pulling that off the agenda for the next meeting?
Yes.
Council
Yeah,
calendar?
Yeah, they would-
Okay,
if
so
they want it
all in
off.
favor of pulling it off?
And that's because they want it off, or because we want it off?
We just need more.
No, because we
information.
have to straighten out some issues that still remain, and I can bring it back to you easily next time, in the next 2 weeks, we can bring theirs back.
So that is item B. It is item 5B. Is
Right.
that what I'm looking at?
B1, 5B1.
5B1.
Yeah.
You want to take that off? So council comfortable approving the rest of the consent calendar?
I would
No.
move for the adoption of the consent calendar.
I'm sorry, I'd like to
Sorry.
remove 5C,
Just a second.
5C1, no, I'm sorry, 5C2.
I see two.
No, there's only,
Rescinding the declaring local state emergency.
Yes.
You want to bring that back next time and talk about it?
No, I just have a question about it, so, if it's now the time, you want me to ask the question?
Yeah, we can ask the
Okay.
question now.
Basically, I mean, this is rescinding the, state of emergency for the COVID. Now, the way the nation and the state is moving back into it, I wonder if we should do this or if we should just wait, because I have a feeling that we're going downhill. And I don't know if this is gonna affect, as we go forward, or if we do a new one. I wasn't sure about that.
What the declaration of a state of emergency does is give the city manager authority to flex and to use certain procurement policies in a more liberal way so that you can respond more quickly. This emergency has been a public health emergency, and as you know, the city doesn't have a health department. Mostly that's the county's responsibility. So we haven't done too much with this declaration. We were able to work with, in the beginning stages, to help Helping Hands with a tent for them to help procure that. So while I understand what you're saying, and I'm concerned about the same thing, I'm comfortable rescinding that. If we need to declare another state of emergency, it's a small matter to bring a resolution to you and declare it.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for clarifying that.
So, Counselor, you comfortable leaving it on then?
Yeah, we're okay to leave it on now. Yes.
Okay, do we have
I think Sean has a question.
Sean, go ahead, please.
You're muted.
You're muted, Sean. The big red thing over there. Go ahead.
I think I might have been muted by the administrator, but in any event, just a point of clarification on removing the first item. I wanted to make sure that the city manager only wanted to remove seditiis from the consent. It sounded like we may be moving forward, removing that entire item off the agenda. And I don't think that's what he was intending to do, but I just want to clarify that.
He clarified seditious at the beginning.
That's correct.
Okay.
The
so
city attorney is
okay.
correct. So for the city clerk's purposes, it's not
The entire.
we're not pulling 5B1 off. We're just pulling
Correct.
The
seditious
seditious
off.
section of it off.
Which is on page 21. So
Did you get that?
if that helps.
yeah,
You got it? Okay.
that's right.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay, so, Counselor, you prepared to make a motion?
Yes. I would move for the adoption of the consent calendar with the Sedici's liquor license removed.
I'll second that.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. And I'm working on that. So we're all passed. So it's 5-0, 5-0. So the next item was a staff report. I requested to pull that off because Councilor Kopczynski's back in town now. I did not feel comfortable making a decision on something in the magnitude of $8.4 million without full council support. And so I've asked to move it off the calendar until next city council meeting. And so people get a chance to get their questions answered, to look at the numbers, to look at, what's going on with that particular set of allocations or recommendations. And so that's why I decided to pull it off. And I'd like to have Councilor Kopczynski's input on that recommendations list. Council comfortable with that? Okay, thank you. Okay, business from the council, business from the council? Let me start with Councilor Novak for today.
Well, I have something, but I'm not sure it's permissible, so y'all can tell me if it's not. I don't want to cross the line on the ethics. I just wondered if I could say anything about the fact that my sister is planning some special buffets for the month of August. Is it okay to say this or no? You can stop me right now if it's not okay to say.
I don't think it's advisable from the.
Okay, then I will not say it.
Because right now, you're not a private citizen, you're a public servant.
Right. Okay,
Thank you.
you didn't hear it here.
Do you have anything else, though?
Not off the top of my head. I may well think of something. Well, I reserve the right to think of something while everyone else is
Let's
speaking.
go over here. Let's go Counselor Bartholomew. I'm trying to switch it up every time. Counselor Bartholomew?
Yes, I had a long conversation with Mr. Jeffrey Evans today, and he was requesting a disability relations commission for Albany, like a new commission to be available to the city to serve as an advisory group.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Stacy.
I'm trying to speak into my
there you go.
microphone.
That's better.
Okay,
I
there.
know,
That's way
the
better.
same thing. Okay,
You're very
thanks.
soft-spoken.
Yes.
Okay, so Disability Relations Commission, he was requesting that. And so I want to make sure that I represent constituents and share their concerns. And it might be a useful tool for the city to have a ready-made advisory group.
Thank you. Do you want to comment?
Yeah, we're coming back. You'll recall that Counselor Smith has asked for an update on ADA compliance and the work that we have to do. So we'll be coming back with that. You'll also recall that the council has asked for an update on council or citizen advisory groups. So that will be coming your way as well. You have expressed an intent to try to streamline and consolidate those groups where possible. So actually reduce the number of groups that we have. So we'll be presenting to you, taking a look at what is possible and trying to get some feedback from the council on what your preferences are.
I have a question. When did we decide to reduce the number of advisory groups?
You haven't decided anything yet. You wanted us to look at it with a view towards doing that.
So one of the things we talked about early on is looking at the advisory groups. Can we consolidate? Can we, with reducing staff time with the goal, because with reduced staff, we're possibly putting load on people. And so we want to look at what makes sense for the city, and they'll bring it back to us with some ideas. Okay, Counselor Smith.
I sat in for Counselor Kopsinski and/or Counselor Novak today at the Albany Area Metropolitan Planning Organization meeting, the policy board, and just wanted to report that the organization has received $960,000 in COVID relief funding. The money does not have, it's unrestricted funds intended for transportation, but it doesn't have a lot of the same strings attached. That there's no time limit. They just send us a check via ODOT. So the city of Albany will be, well, Albany Projects, there are 2 Albany projects that are on the list that the policy board approved today. One is some assistance, $350,000 of assistance for some resurfacing on Queen Avenue, and $150,000 towards the Gibson Hill modernization project that got put off for a year because Benton County didn't have the money. They're pulling together all the dimes they can find in the couch, and this was $150,000 worth of dimes that they were very happy to get. That project will happen next year in 2020.
Mighty big couch.
Yes, mighty big couch. They were really happy to get it.
That's fantastic.
So just wanted to report that.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Counselor Johnson, excuse me.
Yeah, I just had one comment. Last Thursday, we went to the River Rhythms concert, and it's really nice to have it back. It's nice to see people having a good time. We always, I'm trying to think of the name of the business. I think it's Hometown Furniture on 9th and Hill. Anyway, that's where the, what's the vehicle that we use?
Trolley?
The trolley, yes. We have a new driver, and he's a kick. Let me tell you, he's just a kick. He's fun, and every time we went over an intersection, he says, "Oh, there's another creek." I'm going to stop listening to those creeks because I just don't think I want to know. And so I'm thinking that we need to kind of upgrade our trolley. I mean, we use it. I know it's used for different events and things, in the city, and I think a little upgrade and tightening of the screws and bolts and whatever would be nice, but the driver, like I said, he's just a kick, and he's really fun, and he has a donation station there, but I says, is this where you put the tips? Oh, you don't have to do that. And I says, well, this is a service, because we didn't have to try to find a parking place down near the park. So it's a great service, and so I just wanted to say that maybe we could maybe use just a couple bucks of that fund to help with our trolley. Just an idea. And then also I wanted to ask, we pulled off let's see this, what's it called now? But anyway, the funding that we're getting. And, I never did find out who was on that committee. And I think knowing who was on the committee would kind of give me an idea of where these suggestions came from, like, are they realtors, are they business people, are they citizens or whatever? So if maybe we could have a list of that. I'm just curious. I think
Sure.
they've given us some real good ideas.
Sure, and all of those items were suggested by staff,
Okay,
but the members of the committee, I can certainly give you their names, sure.
yeah, okay, I
And they
appreciate that.
represented a cross-section of, as I mentioned Monday night, their business interests, community service, education,
Good,
and
Okay.
neighbors.
that'd be great. Thank you. That's all I have tonight.
So, Counselor Olson. Thank you, Counselor Johnson.
Yes, I didn't realize that basketball hoops were taken down because of the COVID. Is that right?
That is correct. In the beginning, you'll recall, it seems so long ago now, but in the beginning, they did not want to encourage people to get together and you remember there were certain sports that the state came out and said they didn't want to have people doing. And they actually lumped them together and created different categories. So it is true that hoops came down.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time, we also kept Talking Water Gardens open with a recognition of the fact that people need to recreate. Unfortunately, the state closed all of their parks, but we kept as many open as we could.
And we plan to put the hoops back up.
Oh, they're up. Oh, they've been
They're
up for a
back up.
while. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Amen.
So Robinson can go back to shooting baskets. Good. And is somebody going to, I'm under the impression that our new water plant isn't completely paid off yet. Is that correct?
Our water treatment plant?
Drinking water treatment plant.
Chris, you can't go one meeting without being called up to the podium.
And are we still paying on an escalating rate, so it is supposedly less painless? I know we have been in the past.
Counselor Olson, the debt for the Albany-Millersburg water treatment plant is still being paid off. I'd have to look at the year we anticipate that being paid off. I think we have at least several more years to go. I
Yeah.
think it was a 30-year loan. So it's probably 2033 or somewhere in there. And we come to the council every year and talk about rates. And so as we discussed with you when we do our rate presentation, our first obligation is to pay our debt. So first we look at our budgets for the next year and we account for how much we have to pay for debt. And then we account for how much we have to pay for operating and maintenance costs. And then the council has set capital investment targets for both water and wastewater. And we look at how much money is left and will we be able to meet that capital target. And if we can't meet that capital target with our current anticipated revenue, then we recommend a rate increase that would meet the council goal of that capital target. So that's how we calculate our rate recommendations for the council every year. And then the council discusses and decides what to do, whether to vote for those or not. So rates do go up. The treatment plant, even though the the debt was sort of a one-time loan taken out to build it, has annual operating costs, and we have annual replacement parts, not annual, some on longer than annual basis that have to be made. So when we talked the other night about the membranes, membranes are anticipated to have a 10-year lifespan. Our last sets of membranes lasted 12 to 15 years. But membranes have to be replaced. They don't last forever. The sand filters at the Vine Street plant occasionally have to be maintained and the media replaced. So there are capital investments that have to be made in these treatment facilities that are above and beyond just building it. You can't just build it and then not invest in it.
But on top of that, as I recall, when we first built the plant, the question was, should we have equal payments for the next, how long has it been? 10 years ago we built, 15 years ago we built that plant?
2005 is when it went online.
Okay, so that's 15, 16. And we decided we won't give people the full blast to begin with. We'll start with what seemed to be a reasonable payment, and we'll escalate those over time. Hopefully it'll be less painful to do it that way rather than have people start paying the full bore right to begin with.
Well,
And I assume we're still on that schedule.
we're on so the debt repayment schedule is determined by the lender. And I wasn't involved when that first debt was first taken out with the state. But I will tell you that my very first assignment with the city of Albany was having the phone number that everyone called regarding the 28% water rate increase that went in place October 1st, 2003. And that was my
Ouch.
first job here. So even though the debt payments may have been, equally spaced out or however they were
I
set
don't
up by
think
the
they were.
lender, there was a need for a significant rate increase when that loan was taken out in order for the city to secure it.
Yep.
So that was a relatively huge water rate increase at that time. And then since then, we've had more, inflationary type rate increases as a general rule.
Yeah, and as I recall, we tried to make it less huge to begin with
Right.
and try and smooth it out over time.
Yeah, and the council typically has opted to try to create a smooth annual rate adjustment rather than not adjusting rates for multiple years and then having to do large rate adjustments all at once. That's typically been, over the years, the various council members have chosen that approach.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the other
Go ahead.
question I've got is, do we plan to have a CARA meeting next month? I have several constituents have asked, what's happening with CARA? And it goes along and they think they're going to have a meeting on that Wednesday in between, and then it gets canceled. So is it?
Yes, there's a
Well, we're
CARA
gonna have
meeting
a meeting
scheduled for next month.
month?
Correct.
There's one.
Yes.
Good. I'll relay that information.
Excellent. So is that it, council? I'll go last then, and I'll
Sir?
turn it over. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Forgive me, I did
No,
think
no,
of
go ahead.
I did think of one thing.
Go ahead.
And that is that I want to tell anyone who has reached out to me in the last, 4 or 5 days via email, I am woefully behind, and I apologize, and I'm going to do my best to catch up in the next few days. I'm usually a little better, but lately, not. So, and I also want to thank Counselor Smith for covering on AMPO for Ray Kopczynski and myself. 'Cause I'm supposed to be the alternate, but it doesn't work out very well. And for helping me remember my readers. Thank you very much.
And I do appreciate all three of you working together to get that done, so thank you very much for that. The thing I have is I want to thank Rebecca Bond and Lisa Grotto. I'm attending my first Oregon Mayors Association conference tonight, sometime I leave. And they went around town, and we were supposed to have a basket for a silent auction, and it's amazing what they put together in a short amount of time. So I want to thank you and all your the donors to that particular project. So thank you very much for that. The next thing is Mr. Quinn mentioned the meeting of the timing. So when I was during the campaign and also when I was on city council, several people, dozens of people came to me and said, the meetings are too long. I don't get a chance to speak. Listen, I got the floor. And so it came back to his meeting efficiency. In my professional career, I run meetings all the time. And so one of the things with the timer is during several city council meetings, I watched them all back when I was in the campaign, and several meetings were extended by saying the people going 30, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and people didn't get a chance to get their voice heard. The goal of the timer is for people to get their information to us prior to the meeting. It gives us a chance to read it, right? And then what we do from that was they come and summarize their points. We give them 3 minutes to do that. It's actually not 3 minutes. I gave you 7. So the mayor can extend that. So you had a lot to say, so I allowed that. And so most people, when they're done, they take a seat. There's no intimidation factor. It's about meeting efficiency and allowing someone else in the room to have a chance to speak to the council. That's why we have a clock. So it's not no intention of intimidating anyone. So it's a better use of your time and our time and its constituents' time sitting out there and staff time. That's the whole purpose of meeting efficiency as I see it. And other than that, I'll go ahead and defer. Oh, I don't know if you guys know this, but Saturday, the 99s flew in to City of Albany Airport. We had women come in from all over the United States flying in here. It was a wonderful celebration of women aviation. They went to a lecture down at the museum, and they also went down to the carousel. Several of them ate lunch here in our city, and it was a great event, and it was really fun to be a part of that event. So the airport was a good thing this weekend. It was hot, but it was a good thing. And other than that, I think the city manager has some reports for us, and then we'll adjourn the meeting.
I have very little for you, just to remind you about Herman's Hermits tomorrow, and come on down to River Rhythms if you can.
And so, and along those lines, I will not be here, so I've asked Councilor Smith to welcome people to the city tomorrow, and she graciously accepted, so thank you for that. And with that, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.